You're on.
How do I make this man mine?
Right. Well, he was
yeah.
quite the catch. Too.
I remember showing up to the set, sort of had my eye on this guy, a little classic, a little new wave. I had my Judge Dredd shirt, no sleeves, just making sure to flex a little guns here and there.
Your super short OP.
I had my
corduroy
5-inch short shorts,
Yes,
corduroys, with the tucking. Not a belly shirt, but we did those back then too.
The revealers.
So that's our meeting story.
Yeah, so I really pursued him on the movie set. I actually lured him into a room one night.
Oh, it's true.
We got really close, but he said no. Are we doing this much detail?
No, keep going, keep going. We had a relationship. I had to, clean that up before anything was going to go down.
Yeah.
So you had a girlfriend?
I did.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend.
Yeah, no matter what, had
He was
to do the
going to
right thing.
he was going to do the right thing, and I just wanted to do the thing.
Right now.
Let's go.
So that was, yeah. That's all.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Now we know. Jandy, you can tell us.
So it was the early 90s, and I had a husband at the time, who's now an ex-husband. He had a girlfriend at the
I
time.
hope so. Otherwise,
Do you have anything to
where's
announce?
those checks?
And I met you, yeah, I think I met you in like 92 or 93 maybe. And we were friends, Jimmy and I were friends for like 4 years before we started
great.
dating.
Jimmy was when I introduced you to me for Tomboy.
Yes,
So,
that's
yeah.
right, that's
You were
right.
doing
I was doing
Barbie?
Vampirella. Well, I was doing Barbie, and then my soul was dying doing Barbie. And then, so they put me on Gargoyles, which I was really enjoying, but that was like a limited run. They canceled it after, I guess issue 11 or 12 or something. And Jimmy was like, you should be doing Vampirella. And I'm like, okay, yes I should. And so you took me up to Harris Comics. And I think, yeah, that might have been right around when we started dating. Well, anyways, my marriage fell apart. His girlfriend left him.
Yeah, she was touring, and she came home and said, I met a guy on the road and you want to get married and have kids. And I'm like, yep, well that's that. So,
You didn't want to have kids, right?
no, I didn't want to have, I didn't want to have kids. And it was just,
Compatible relationship.
no, she came and she laid down and I was like, yeah, that makes sense, I don't blame you. We're still friends. I mean, he's still friends with even my ex-husband.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a good guy.
So how did you guys like?
She seduced me.
Like, oh.
Well, go ahead, Amanda, you can tell your
Yeah,
way.
we were hanging out with, like Rob Sampson and Nelson.
We were out at Fire Island. We were out at Fire Island, New York, to Rob Sampson. He's no longer with us. And he was working at Wizard magazine back then.
Yeah.
And I rented this house in Fire Island, which was like a party house. Billy, you guys have been out there. And it was like the MTV house. It had a pool, it was by the beach. I would invite everyone, and only a small group would come because it was a pain in the neck to get to. You had to take a ferry to get to the island. But once you were there, you were like set.
Yeah.
There was no cars, just bicycles and people
Some of them
walking.
never left.
And some people never left. Yes, Ian fell.
Bicycles and drunken pedestrians.
And drunk pedestrians.
And deer, yeah.
And I was there with a couple of my buddies, and Amanda came out, and it's very flirty with me, and then
I decided I really liked him. I'm like, I really like him. He makes me laugh.
and then we were on the beach, and first kiss, right? She kissed me. I was like, I like this. It was a full moon and everything, man.
Yeah, it was like a wonderful.
It was like crazy, and I was like, all right. I like Fire Rally. And then she, and it was, we were such good friends for years. So it wasn't like we didn't. Yeah, she knew all my dirty laundry for sure. And so it was like just a natural. It was just it's like that Friends episode, right? Rachel and Monica, I guess, or whatever. It was like we adored each other, and then we took it to the next step. And it's been working out since. Yeah.
I love that you say you adored each other.
We do. Yeah, we do.
No, you.
Deb, Bill?
I think ours is kind of easy, right? You say that.
No, you stalk.
Talking to the microphone.
Microphone, stalker, he said, the word stalker.
Lord, you said that. I was stalking.
Yes, but that wasn't when I made a move. I was just curious. I was engaged.
She was engaged.
I was engaged, but very curious. So,
Is this like, oh no, I'm getting engaged, I better like
no,
try
it's not
everything else on the
like
menu?
that.
No?
I was actually happily engaged, and then he and that. If any of you follow Billy on Facebook, at least once, maybe twice a year, a picture of Billy comes up that his ex-girlfriend Michelle took, and everybody calls it the Lost Boys picture. Are we all familiar with that? Okay, when that walked by me at FIT, and if you know FIT, not a lot of straight men.
Nope.
And he
8 girls
walked
to
by,
every
and
guy.
I went, what is that? And I stealthily found out what floor he lived on in my dorm, and back then there were payphones. That's how we made phone calls.
Yeah.
So I very conveniently never used the payphone on my own floor. I used it on his floor
It was right across the
because it was right across from his room. But he never came out.
You feel like flock of seagulls playing in the room, but you never opened the door? Like that's what was happening?
Yeah, it was always loud music
The
coming from his
Ramones.
room. And then a year later, when I was no longer engaged, I was doing some work.
blew me off.
No,
Is that when I got
I'm
carried
talking about the elevator.
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
Story.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm on an elevator. I was doing some work for my aunt, and I had a box full of stuffed envelopes that I was delivering to my aunt, who was waiting in the lobby. And he gets on the elevator and says, "Oh, I'll carry that for you."
I'm not gonna let we were.
And I'm like, "Now's my chance to talk
I'm
to
not gonna let
this
her go.
guy."
She's got this big box, so I'm gonna I'll take that for you. I'm not gonna let her carry this. And she's gorgeous. She still is. But she was like, because I had seen her, she was, oh my God.
So I'm excited
Big
that
hair.
I'm now going to get to talk to him. And the elevator door opens and the lobby says, "Where are you taking this?" And I said, "To that woman over there." And I followed him over and I said hello to my aunt. And when I turned around to talk to him, he was gone.
Mysterious.
Yes.
He took your box, or
I was waiting for Jimmy.
You and I were just
yeah.
talking about your box.
Join the club.
So then fast forward again to the following year. And
No, I saw your shirt. I said I liked your shirt, which I did.
yeah, that was not.
Oh, okay. I like your shirt. It was terrible. It was real. It had rhinestones on it. And it was 80s stuff.
Fringes?
Yeah, it was, not fringes. That it could
Coins, pearls, and rhinestones.
have. She worked for the company, so.
That's the only reason why I was married.
Well, guys, you all seem appear to work incredibly well together. But was there, I know, that's the seam and appear. Was there ever a time that you thought either A, this is amazing and this is going to work out, or B, oh my God, I need to get a separate career?
What's today? I always feel that way the week before Saturday. Every week. So yes.
You feel that way
That one.
about getting a new career every time you have
Oh yeah,
dealing with.
I go to a fast food place. I was asking, how much you make an hour? I'm like always curious. Comics are like so unpredictable all the time. And then,
Also, like, heavy paper. Every time he's like dragging artwork around, he goes, "Why couldn't it have been stamps?"
right? Why couldn't I make stamps for a living? Cotton ball, right? Cotton ball manufacturer. It's like, you guys know those white boxes, man. You have to you get older, you have to get the shorter ones, right? Like the big ones. Remember those big ones? And now it's like, oh my God, I can hardly lift that. So we get shorter. Soon the box is just gonna have 4 books in it. They call that a bag, but anyway. But yeah, it's always stressful. San Diego's stressful because you just don't want anything to go wrong. And you guys have extra stress because we don't move. We just, I don't know, at the end of the day, it's just like, if somebody say, here's $1 million, or you set up at San Diego, I'm like, or don't set up at San Diego, I'm like, I'm not going to set up at San Diego. I just don't want that stress. But you guys do it like troopers. Like, you guys do it, and I can't do it. I used to do it. Actually, we all did it one time.
Oh, yeah.
In one booth.
Yep.
And the con actually tried to shut us down a couple of times.
Every rule in the 90s you can break.
Yep.
Yes.
And we had worse from us. Remember we had the big, was it Big Entertainment with the giant hand? Was it something like that?
Techno
Comics. And they had like $1 million booth, and we had like $38 booth. You know, we had like together. But we had gigantic lines, and they had to give away T-shirts to get anybody to go to their booth.
Every year there'd be that next $1 million booth.
Yeah.
Every year, right? And I just go, dead man walking. Too tough. Just too tough.
Yeah, a lot of people see it as a business.
Yeah.
And like, so the difference between us and them is, you know, we're like passionate, we love what we do, and we're all passionate. And then we figure out the business. And all those big companies are all business, and then let's get some of those creative guys in here and make some money off them. Right. You know, right. So it's,
Add something to that.
Sure, go for it.
It's passionate and having a story to tell.
yeah.
It's not, nobody comes into this business and is successful if they just think that they're going to start and invest in a company without having a valid story to tell. And the love and passion of art that these guys do.
But was there ever a project that really tested all you guys in the relationship?
Yeah, do you
In business, are you saying in, because the thing is we're spouses, but then we're also business partners. So are you talking, because there's things that we do in business that we might not agree upon and then have a conversation?
Oh, has
But
it?
are you asking, does it I don't know, interfere with the relationship of husband and wife?
Yes, because you've got to make both of those obviously work together, and you all do amazing jobs at that, but I'm sure there's times that it's tested.
I still wanted to answer that previous question. So there was a time in my career sort of wallowing in the mid 00s were kind of tough
Can't be on
on
the
comics.
Can't be on the
table.
Sorry. What do I?
Brian's not good with rules.
True. Sort of career kind of wallowing, you know, flat, nothing happening, working with different publishers, not taking on the role of publisher. And at one point, Francisca was very, very successful, like the #1 sales rep for a high-end skincare line, says to me, maybe it's time you start thinking about a plan B. And man, when I heard those words, that was the biggest kick in my ass, where I'm like, I gotta make something work. And within a year, you know, saw what Jimmy was doing in crowdfunding, actually got a lot of advice from Jimmy, and then went full hog into crowdfunding. So yeah, there were definitely, you know, the dark times.
Yeah.
But we, as a couple, we've been very supportive of each other. So during the chaos era, we got really big, and I decided to go back to school. So I wanted to experience something new and different for me, because meeting Brian and coming on board, and Brian and I starting Chaos Comics together, it was just all comics all the time. So there was just a point where I'm like, I want to try a little something for myself. So I went back to school and I got my degree in interior design. And then stuff happened, life's happening. So for Brian and I, we just got to a point where during my good times, we were lucky that Brian was having his lower times at that time, so that I can take the reins and run the family just for a little bit while he was building back up, and then he'd build back up, and then I was able to take some downtime. But we're now at the point where we're both full speed ahead, 100% together on Comics. So, but I feel very lucky that we were able to have our highs and lows completely opposite of each other, so that we were able to be there to support each other. Yeah, so I feel really lucky about that.
Do you guys ever discuss creative direction? Like Brian, do you,
Do we discuss, or does he ask me what I think?
does he ask you anything?
No.
Okay, because no.
This guy's
So we no. So okay. I'm sure all of us with each other are. With Deb. Deb is my harshest critic, but she's my most ardent supporter. Okay?
Fair.
And now there are things, though, that's kind of like, well, this is what I'm going to do, and this is I'm going with this. And then sometimes it might be an impasse a bit, because like, okay, for a she for 25 years, and I've had this grand plan, and that you learn at the end of the last she book, graphic
This is
novel.
not the panel for that.
No?
That's the panel we're doing on Sunday.
No, but what you're doing now is a panel, so go.
Yeah, okay. Is that you read, Anna Ishikawa finds out, let me just finish, that she is full-blooded Japanese. She thought she was half Japanese, and she's not. She's full-blooded Japanese. That took this little one came out of left field for her and hit her with a curveball. So and I got a plan.
Call her little one.
Little one.
Oh, man.
The little lady.
The little lady. So that was an interesting weekend when I told her that.
When you called her little one?
No.
You're telling
So
us.
see, that might be the thing.
Yeah, well, let's not even go there.
Don't let.
That's a whole-
But it works out great.
That's a whole
It works out
I
great.
like that.
It works out.
No, I think what he's trying to say is, because this was something that, to me, sounded like it was off the cuff, because he just, apparently this grand plan had been brewing in his head for a while, but he neglected to tell me about
It's
it.
working it out, Jimmy. You know, it's working.
So, by the time he told me, he had told his co-writer, and he told an editor, and I was the last to know, and I was like, wait a minute,
So I was terrified
breaks.
to tell her.
I just wanted to make sure that everything had been thought out, that we weren't going to disappoint or disillusion people who for the last 20 plus years, going on 30 next year, believed that she was, they believed the dichotomy that she had lived and that had made she. So,
Yeah.
and it always had to be viable and historic. So once he brought me up to speed and I had my meltdown.
I would call it like a conniption.
Yeah, probably. And I always say, he takes it very personal because his work is always very personal, but I can appreciate that, but at the same time, and I'm sure you guys can all relate to this, that we still have a business to run and a family to support. And so we have to always keep that in mind, that we have to make sure that you guys are happy and are going to keep coming back, or what are we doing this for? So with a little research,
It all worked out.
I was able to add to the story.
Yes, you
was
were.
I
Yes,
not?
you did a great job.
And I'm not even sure why you brought this up. Well, there we go.
That's what it's like to work, that's what it's
Right.
like to
But
work
that's
together.
exactly.
So Debbie gets the
Debbie
ability, Debbie gets the.
Debbie did not win.
No, but Debbie gets the
There was
ability
no winner, no loser.
to have the input.
Right.
I do the finances and I make sure all the wheels are going. So I do the business end, Brian does the creative end. And I have to put all my trust in that he's going to tell the stories that are coming from his heart. Because when they're coming from his heart is when the reader base really loves it. So even if I don't understand it or whatever, I just always ask him, is that authentically the story you want to tell? That's the only question I usually ask him. It's like, is that really what you want? Because sometimes when your loved one shares a story or a story direction with you, you've been with that person long enough that you know if that story is coming from an authentic place. And that's the only time I'll question. It's just like, when Brent's like, well, what do you think of the, and I'm like, is that really what you want to write, or are you writing it for another reason? You know, just like, is this really coming from your heart? Is this the story you want to tell? And he's like, no. And I'm like, don't tell that. Tell this. I don't care if people love it or not love it. You have to tell the story that you want to tell.
Speaking of stories that you want to tell.
Hang on,
Oh, sure.
No, just continue this.
So we
Jimmy
got out of
Amanda.
this. We got out of this.
Jimmy Amanda. Yeah, I get it.
He's got sucked back in.
that you two are both the creatives.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how does that work? Now,
Amanda's
again,
always
Brian,
right.
like Debbie said, I take it very personally. It's almost like you get wounded. You have this idea in your head, and you take a drive, or you're working on it for days or whatever, and you have this idea, and you're all in, and then all of a sudden you present it to them, and like, wait a minute, what? And then you get like, I react very emotionally.
You think?
Yeah, right. See? Now you guys are both creatives,
Yeah.
so
And we both think we're right.
Right.
You know,
No comment. And so I think writing is instinctual. I think you just know like this is working and this is working. But I do trust Amanda when I give her something to read, and she goes, if she says something in it, I listen to it because it's obviously because everything's going on in my head, so I need another voice. And she's really good. She doesn't really. It's not about criticizing. She's like, I'm not clear here, or this idea isn't coming across clear. Or the character, like for Harley, right? We wrote like over 100-something Harley stories, and she'd be like, I don't think Harley would say that or do that, and then we'd talk it out. We would argue once in a while, but it would be like,
Really, I can imagine you guys are.
We argue, and then we'd like, oh, let's go eat. Let's go
Yeah.
get something to eat. And,
a lot of times the reason we're arguing is because we're hungry.
yeah, well,
So,
hangry's not a great way to work.
I mean, I gotta say, Harley almost, and a lot of people are not going to hear this, almost killed our relationship.
Yeah.
It almost did, because,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, but we poured ourselves so hard into that book.
It was 66
And-
pages a month we were writing.
Well, yeah,
That's a
in
lot.
the beginning,
That's a lot.
we're like, okay, we're doing a monthly book, right? So 22 pages a month, we can totally handle that. And then it started picking up in popularity, and we're like, and DC was like, well, we want to do more books. And Jimmy and I were like, Harley stays with us.
Yeah,
She stays
DC
here.
wanted to put Harley in every book, and we said,
It's gonna water her
we're
down.
only going to
It's
stay on
gonna-
it if we are the only people that do Harley books. And I
Yeah.
said, I don't want continuity going this way or that way. Like, we managed in 5 years to keep those books in continuous storyline.
Yeah.
And whether people liked it or not, they actually liked it because it sold pretty well.
Yeah.
But it was the thing I think is lacking in comics right now, right? Because you buy comics and all of a sudden they throw last year continuity out, and you feel like I don't have any allegiance to this character anymore because they changed everything again.
Right.
So the deal was like, okay, if you're gonna do that, we just
We
know
want
that
specialists.
we need more books. So
More
how about
specials
specials?
here.
How about Gang of Harleys?
Yeah.
How about Harley Quinn Power Girl? How about this Scratch and Sniff book? How
Yeah.
about
And then-
Harley's Little
You
Black
guys have
Book?
fun stuff. How
Yeah.
Harley's Little Black Book, like you said,
Yeah.
the Harley Power Girl. Those are characters that are compatible. That works.
Right, yeah, like
That's
Harley and Power
Harley and
Girl.
Robin.
Yeah, Harley and Power Girl are the world's finest I never knew I needed, but towards the end they finally, put the hammer down and said, okay, we're making this bi-monthly, so it's 2 books a month.
Right, and then
And then the annuals and stuff, and it was killing us.
Yeah, it was
and
nonstop.
We didn't have a relationship, we were roommates at that point.
Right. Yeah, we were just working all the time.
Yeah.
We didn't get this, honestly, I didn't read the books till years later, right? I went back and got these 3 giant omnibuses, and I'm like, oh my God, we did a lot of work there. And we realized that that's not how to work. So it was a good lesson in there. It paid for our house, we were happy.
Yes, yeah.
It could have paid for more if they were more generous with us. But it definitely made Margot Robbie and all those guys a lot of money, and we're happy for them. And Bruce Timm and Paul Dini did very well. So we're happy for them because they created the character, let's be honest. But we learned something from it. We came out of it and said, okay, we can't do this anymore. We were like control freaks. We didn't want anybody else to mess with the character. We had a vision for the character. And so now we realized that we're not doing Harley, and then we're doing our own stuff and controlling it. So I mean, it was a lesson we had to have. And we both had careers where, like, it's a little roller coaster time. It's like, we're doing event comics and then blah, 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 blah. Right. Marvel Knights, Black Bolt, it's like, and again, all people remember is Harley, Jonah Hex, Daredevil, and Ash. But I mean, there's like 3,000 comics in between that. Didn't do too well. But we learned, and we're applying it now to what we're doing. We have a Kickstarter up now, the Trigger Girl, and Amanda did chapter breaks, and I'm trying to get Amanda, to the point we did an art book for her. So there was lessons there, but it definitely did almost, yeah, it was bad.
It was reckless.
Yeah, it was reckless. we had to stop everything. That was the only way to save it. We told DC, we're done. You guys do whatever you want with the character. I think the next day they put her back in Gotham, which we were like, we never wanted to do. Like every other Batman character's in Gotham. Harley's in Coney Island. In Brooklyn, you know. So yeah, so it happens.
We can see that when you're talking about the characters that you guys have developed and created and nurtured over the years, that you're really passionate about it. Have you ever contemplated, are you contemplating now other creative mediums besides comics that you might want to work in?
You know, I've done it.
I want to design luggage.
Yeah, Amanda wants.
I will buy that luggage.
Yeah. Amanda's a frustrated designer because she looks at everything and goes, "There's a better way to make that. There's a better way this should look. These cabinets are all wrong, and that right space."
Why does everything have to look so institutional? Why can't everything be pretty? You know, like I look at stuff and I'm like, you know, that thing over there. Yeah, it's like, why does that dehumidifier have to look like it belongs in a hospital? Why can't, you know?
Nice design career.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to.
If I can go back for a second now, and I'm going to say something I thought about for the past couple of days, and one is in regards to, say, DC Comics with you guys, is that, you know, we have an adorable girl in the back dressed as Harley Quinn. When you guys got the character, you know, Paul Dini and Bruce is, you know, amazing character and all, but she was sort of like this abuse, significant other of the Joker. And you guys, what you guys did through that run and turned that character from a D-list character to a superstar. That now we have a movie opening up this weekend, you know, Barbie, starring Margot Robbie, right? And from your run on Harley Quinn, I am, in my humble opinion, I don't think that there would have ever been a Suicide Squad film if it weren't for your books. What you did to make that character, you transformed the character, made a character better, you fleshed it out, made this character human, and made her an anti-hero, but also a hero to millions. And then you have Margot Robbie, who was great in The Wolf of Wall Street, a few other films, but no one really knew who she was. For a role, I feel personally that she was born to play. For this Harley Quinn, and turned her into a superstar, and now she's going to open up with the biggest film of this weekend, starring in Barbie, to bring back the Barbie franchise. I don't know that if it was not for the two of you, that there ever would have been a Suicide film series of films, right? Like I said, an abused significant other or whatever like that, to playing second fiddle to the Joker, to this international badass, and someone who's adored by millions. And that little girls are Halloween, they're all Harley Quinn. And now again, and the Margot Robbie, who again, she was in these smaller films, great actress, you know, one of my favorite films, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You know, but she'd already been Harley Quinn before that.
Yeah.
And now she's opening up in the biggest film, that could be the biggest film of the summer, starring in it. And I think personally it's because of you guys. I really do. That if you guys never took on that
Margot here?
I mean, do you guys agree? Like, if they didn't stand by that vision, that
Yes,
they fought
they all clapped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That Christmas time, Paul. No.
There you go. We met Margot 2 or 3 times, I guess? 3 times.
Three times, yeah.
And she's exactly how you think she is, the sweetest, coolest, smartest person. At one point we were on a set, she roller skated up to us and gave us a hug, and she read the comics. She knew her comic books.
Yeah, she came from,
You know.
she came from a genuine place, because I've heard like horror stories about, you know, actors that go into like superhero roles, and you know, they're asked, so what's your favorite comic? Oh, I don't read comics. And I'm like, oh God, it's just, you're making money off of it, but you're like spitting on it at the same time.
Right.
It makes me sad. But somebody like took a picture of Margot Robbie at the airport, and she was like leafing through a Harley trade paperback book, and we're like, oh my God, she's really reading it, yay! You know, so.
The first Suicide Squad, she came after the screening, after the premiere, and came up to us and said, how did I do? That's what she said.
She gave
Wow.
That's right. She said, how'd I do? And I said, terrible. Just working at it. You'll get there. I mean, but you look out once in a while. I mean, I wish I created Harley, right? I wish that was our.
Yeah.
But you take every experience and you apply it to the next time you do something, and it's just again the difference between 1,000 comics come out, right? But you can tell the passion comics. You can tell these guys right here, their books have this passion. They care about it. They write to you inside it. They answer your Kickstarter questions. We don't get that in the big two, because the big two are looking to fill. We have to have 85 books, so we need 16 more Batman titles this month, and we need 4 X-Men titles. And it's a job, and I get it. It's a gig. But as I get older, I'm like, I want this. I want the grassroots. I want to connect with the creators and the characters. And no disrespect, some of those books are great, some of them aren't, but they have to put out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We choose when to put out our stuff, and when we feel it's time to tell a story, we tell it.
Right.
That's the difference.
Exactly it.
Now, and I will shut up after this.
What?
I saw Brian yesterday, and I had an epiphany. And I want to build off of what I just said about Jimmy and Amanda for the people on this panel, but the power couples that you guys are, what the couples of how they changed the world. And I have to say something like, this is my 30th San Diego Comic-Con. 30 years ago, I was online for every major and minor publisher trying to get work. And I eventually made my way to small press, and I saw this awesome dude with really long hair, really in shape, handsome, funny, brilliant, and he talked to me like a fellow pro. It didn't help that we were kind of from the same circles in a way, but it was Brian Pulido, and Brian offered me a job to do a pinup, which later became the Lady Death swimsuit issue.
Yeah.
But with my ADD, I forgot it was a swimsuit issue, and I put her in a dress, but it looked like a mermaid dress, so it kind of worked. But I came home and I told my wife that, how'd it go? Well, I got all these leads, blah, blah, blah.
It was not his wife yet.
No, she was my wife. But I said, but I met this guy, and he's fantastic, and you love him, and he's doing his own comic. And I'm like, why don't I do my own comic with this character he's doing? And she's like, why not? Why not? We could do this. But to get back to that is that in January 1994, a comic book came out that this couple right here published called Lady Death #1. Lady Death #1 was such a phenomenon that my comic, she came out about a month later, less than a month later, she #1. Because Lady Death blew off the set, off the shelves, you don't get that. You're like, well, what about she? She also, now all of a sudden, we get pre-orders for 37,000 copies, we ship, and I only make 50, which is funny. I have no money, that's another story. Within a month, we get reorders for over 3 weeks, we get reorders for over 140,000 copies of this book ship. We only have 50, we don't have it.
Right.
Anyway, Brian then, she becomes a huge success. So much so that the guy that first published the first appearance, she reprints that book in the summer of '94. In the back of that book is my friend David Mack's character called Kabuki, right? Kabuki, because of how the bad girl that you launched an entire genre, Brian Fran did, becomes popular, right? That puts David Mack, who's a friend of ours, on to become friends with Jimmy. Jimmy and Joe hire him to write an issue of Daredevil. Okay? Daredevil is huge. Jimmy's friends were all the same friends. David says to Jimmy, I got a friend, Brian Bendis. He's writing this, he's writing that. They like his stuff. Brian gets hired to write Ultimate Spider-Man. Creates Miles Morales. Okay, think about it. So, Miles Morales explodes, becomes $1 billion film, right? Secret Wars, all the new thing, Secret Wars, Miles Morales is monster hit. In my heart of hearts, and I know that if this couple never decided to take that step that you were saying to do that book, there'd be no Miles Morales. They literally changed the face, all of you guys, changed the face of pop culture. You think about it, what if, wow, It's true. If you guys never decided to publish Lady Death through Chaos, you had Evil Ernie, awesome character. But again, bad good girl books don't sell. Remember, they all told us you can't do a book with a female lead. Wait a minute, a woman's going to beat up a guy or stand. That was unheard of. Remember, you had Wonder Woman and Catwoman, and they canceled Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? You had the Catwoman's book, but aside from that, there was nothing. There was no single Marvel female lead character. She-Hulk would come and go, etc., etc. But think about that. You would not have. I personally don't think there would be no Harley Quinn films. There would not be little girls dressing up as Harley Quinn for Christmas. For Halloween, Christmas. But again, there would be no Miles Morales. Just imagine the world of pop culture. Imagine the Marvel universe, the DC universe, if it wasn't for these four people to our right. So let's.
And last year I didn't get a chance to open it up to the audience for questions. I want to do that, but I want to ask you one last question before we do that, if you don't mind.
Answer quickly, right?
Yes, don't mind.
One word answer.
One word, okay.
Oh boy. What has the past 25 years working with your spouse meant to you? One word.
Heaven.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say happiness, so we'll keep it in the H's. Happiness.
Oh, great.
It's a challenge.
Do you guys have questions? Anyone have questions?
Notice he didn't answer that.
I noticed that.
Yes.
Me?
Yes, of course you.
Hi, welcome back.
Back.
Yeah, I'm super excited about all of your projects this year, right? Like you're doing all this amazing stuff. And we heard about She, and we heard about Trigger Girl a little bit. Lady Satanas.
Oh.
How has this year been for y'all getting ready for this launch of this whole new character? I'm curious.
It's exciting. If we're all from what's called formerly the comics direct market, and speaking at least for myself, I am so used to launching things into that market to great resignation. But with the power of crowdfunding, I can concoct a story, and that it's received robustly is mind-boggling. Because I remember all the things that I might have launched in the 90s, that kind of fell on deaf ears. And yet I really felt that there was always a market, but there was something in between me and the market. So the magic of crowdfunding has altered that. So there's such a sense of optimism for something like that. Lady Satanas could come out, brand new character, $220,000 realized on a Kickstarter. Amazing, humbling, and the engine that runs me is telling stories. Now look, I know it's not War and Peace that comes out of me, but what comes out of me is really what I care about. So the idea that it could be embraced and that I have a future that could be more telling new stories, it's incredible. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Great question.
That said, I don't know anyone that's finished War and Peace.
There you go. You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
I got this war.
Yes.
Yes, War and Peace is born. But, so over the years working together, has it ever happened that there is somebody, either creatively or on the business side, that one of you really likes working with and the other one hates their guts?
Oh, you mean that's a real actual question? So
Yes.
I'm gonna say sort of. Yeah, like I have empathy for them, but I don't want to work with them. Yeah.
You can't say names.
absolutely.
There you go. All right. Next question.
Oh, great. Yes. You guys have all been major influences.
That's it. No,
I'm sorry.
She was released.
There's two more questions.
I really appreciate this panel because I haven't gone to any like girl power panels or anything like that, but the ladies on stage is really nice to see so many, such a balanced cast. And so for Demi and Francesca, I'm really curious from the business side, what's your day-to-day like? I feel like we hear a lot about the creators, but you're on stage, you're here to talk about it, and I'm really curious, like what's the magic behind what you're bringing to the table?
So for me, we have 15 employees. I am head of human resources and basically the staff. So for me, it's getting up and being a wife to Brian Pulido, and we have the coffee, and then after that, about 6:30 a.m., I'll just start. And it's for me, it's dealing with all the irons that are in the fire, who's not in today, who's sick, who's having, any HR issues, and then after that, it's, what's going on in finance, and then maybe the director of operations, is everything in line, are we good to ship, and then, it's just, so it's basically keeping an eye on everything and making sure all the cogs in the machine are well oiled and constantly going, so that he doesn't have to deal with that kind of stuff. So that hopefully he can stay more on the creative and making sure all the editorial stuff is happening. So yeah, so it's a lot of keeping an eye on everything.
So you have the machine down there, right? And I respect them, and someday I always say, someday we're gonna grow up and maybe be like, but that really won't happen. We work out of our home. On paper, I'm administration, he's creative. But if I really had to say what my job truly is, aside from all the administration, which is emails and customer service and shipping and making sure that what he creates gets to who it belongs, who it is going to.
He's herding cats.
Well, that
Kittens,
so
herding kittens, actually.
basically, but I wasn't going to say it that way. We have you may have seen on our books, Mindy Lockett plays a really big role in our. She's our letterer and our designer. And when I don't have to talk to her often, but when I do, the first thing she says is, I don't know how you do it. Working with Billy is like herding kittens. And I affectionately and with all the love in my heart say that's 100% true. So what my job really is to make what he wants to do happen. Sometimes that's really easy. Sometimes I feel like I'm constantly doing a pivot step. If anybody's a dancer out here, you know what a pivot step is, right? I'm in this direction, wait, gotta turn around, go that direction, wait, gotta go to bed.
Yeah, that's like 2 minutes ago, so we've moved on.
I just pivoted.